Polka remembers his friends that were killed during his past life, so he uses his powers, allowing him to grab the drone from Kozaburo, who becomes curious to learn more about him. Kurai warns them that Kozaburo is extremely dangerous, having witnessed him destroy a gang by himself. He warns Polka not to use his powers, claiming he won't be able to live a peaceful life if he does. Kozaburo begins to question Polka, which worries Kurai, because he knows that if Polka reveals his connection to Clarissa, it would trigger an investigation. So Kurai calls Kozaburo, telling him that Polka and Misaki are just his gaming buddies. He surrounds Kozaburo with drones, warning him that the video of him hassling innocent kids will go viral on the internet. But Kozaburo is unfazed, calling Kurai cocky, as he reveals Kurai sold out his old buddies to save his own skin. Misaki suddenly appears behind Kozaburo, knocking him down, and claiming she was just defending herself against a creep. She runs away with Polka, while Kozaburo tries to chase after them, but he can't find them, because they used Polka's skeletal arm to help them escape. Kurai tells Polka that Kozaburo was telling the truth, admitting that he will reveal their secrets just to save his own life, but Polka tells him his life is more valuable than his secrets. At the police station, Kozaburo asks an officer to investigate Misaki's footprints on his body. She immediately recognizes it, matching it to a footprint they found at the scene of the human knot case, causing Kozaburo to get excited, as he finds the case intriguing. A veteran officer reveals that he once saw Lemmings in the past, claiming that he took down a group of men while they were raining bullets on him. The officer doubts that they could take him on, but he knows that the special division is all they have. Meanwhile, Lemmings has been invisible inside the police station the whole time, and he checks out the photo of Misaki's footprint. Tsubaki is now drunk at the bar, talking about the paranormal cases he handled, and even mentions the skeletons in the building fire. Clarissa knows that he is doing this to taunt their group, but they think that they can't let him dig too deep. The bar girls consider warning Polka, but he happens to arrive at that moment. Tsubaki notices them, and he receives a message with the description of the person involved in the human knots case, which seems to match Misaki, so he asks the pair to spend time with him. Meanwhile, Kurai sees Kozaburo heading to the bar, where the group seems to be enjoying their time together. Kurai warns them to leave, but he's too late, and Kozaburo has already arrived with his men. He joins the group, as Tsubaki reveals that they just want to ask them some questions, but the room suddenly darkens, and the pair immediately hides from the detectives. Clarissa insists it wasn't one of her tricks, while Polka uses his night vision to see in the dark. But he becomes afraid as he sees Lemmings on the ceiling. As Clarissa lights a candle, Lemmings makes his entrance, seemingly ready to fight. Clarissa knows that he is not there to kill anyone, but Kozaburo thinks about beating him up, since he is a wanted person. Polka uses his evil eye, seeing countless ghosts around Lemmings, and he realizes that he killed all of them. Lemmings attacks the officers, blowing them away like ragdolls, and Kozaburo tries to fight back, but his attacks don't work against Lemmings, who doesn't even take him seriously. Lemmings dashes toward Misaki, taking her away, as Polka thinks about using his powers to get her back, but he's too worried about the officers seeing his magic. Kozaburo continues to pursue Lemmings, but he is no match for him. Polka realizes that Lemmings is a human who has pushed beyond his limits, much like Sagrua, so he knows that he can't stop him, but he uses his magic to attack Lemmings anyway. Tsubaki sees the sigils, wondering what they are, but Clarissa covers the candle to darken the room. Polka grabs onto Misaki using his skeletal arms, saying that they should escape, while Tsubaki uses the flashlight on his phone, allowing him to see the skeletal arm. Lemmings charges at Polka, who tries to take him down with his magic, but he fails to land a hit on Lemmings, who can also apparently see in the dark. Lemmings manages to break the skeletal arm holding onto Misaki, and Misaki panics as he approaches her. However, he whispers something to her, and they start talking casually. Misaki tries to paralyze him with her bite, but she can't bite through his bandages. She suddenly stabs his leg with the fork that contains her saliva, making him dazed, as Polka uses the souls haunting Lemmings to cast a spell, summoning a giant skeleton to attack him, and forcing Lemmings to flee. After that, Lemmings reports to his boss, Takaru, telling him that Jinba was already dead, and that Polka is still alive. Kurai is surprised to learn that they have survived after encountering Lemmings, who got his name because of his ability to go anywhere like a rat. Polka thanks Misaki for helping him out, and Misaki says that it's okay because he also does the same thing for her. He remembers his master's words about how he should help people if he wants to, knowing he is going to live a long life as a necromancer, so he should just do what he wants, without thinking about how long something is going to last. Polka tells his friends that he wants to learn more about them, saying that he wants to enjoy peace with them. Polka decides to start a business, where he will use his magic to make money, demonstrating that he can make a soul possess a pen to write its ideas on paper. He shows them the sign for his business, and Kurai doesn't like the idea, but the soul has something else in mind. Polka starts acting as a fortune teller, impressing the people with his abilities, as he allows the soul to guide him, and this allows them to make a fortune. It's revealed that the soul actually knows how to do fortune telling, even telling them how to do it. Kurai does his research, passing on the information to Polka, who uses his evil eye to gather even more information from the spirits with the client. They split the profits between them, even giving some to the real Polka, but the real Polka doesn't want any because he didn't work for it. Kurai reveals that Polka was from a rich family, as a group of men enter their room. The twins named Kazuki and Shizuki greet them, calling Polka their uncle. Polka thinks about fooling them, so he covers his head, telling them that he is the corpse god, but they don't believe him, seeing him as a weirdo. Kazuki thinks that Polka ran away from home because of the people around him. She sits with them, wanting to try out their fortune telling, but they tell her to leave and visit their shop when it opens. Kazuki refuses to leave, calling them peasants, and she starts to argue with Kurai, but her bodyguards stop her, because they know that Kurai is recording the conversation. Kurai proceeds to provoke her, but Polka tells him to stop, because he notices that Kazuki is about to cry. He hugs the twins, telling them they both have a future, and promises to protect them. Polka talks to the misshapen spirit behind the twins, telling it not to worry, as it continues to beg someone to help the children. As they leave, Polka notes that the spirit is not evil, but it has gone half mad. Kurai tells him he has a soft spot for children, and Polka reveals that they remind him of the children in his past life. Kurai gives them information about the Shinigami group, where Polka is the second son of the patriarch named Rosen, and he could claim a share of Rosen's inheritance if he passes away. Kurai speculates that this must be why someone ordered a hit on him, thinking that a relative must want him dead, so going home could be dangerous for him. Polka tells them about his bodyguards during his past life, and he tries to disguise a skeleton as a guard, but it doesn't look close to a human, so they turn to Misaki, thinking she would be a good fit. On their way home, the twins encounter Takeru, who asks them about Polka, and he learns that Polka is returning home, so he looks forward to seeing him. He warns the twins to take care, saying it would be a shame if there was another accident, like the one that happened to their sister, revealing her to be the spirit that is following them. Polka and Misaki visit the Shinigami house, and Polka is amazed by its size. They are greeted by the twins, as well as Takeru, who asks about his companion, and to his surprise, Misaki politely introduces herself. They move to the dining room, and Misaki makes up a story of how Polka saved her life when she was about to jump off a building, and it turns out she actually comes from a well-off family that once helped Takeru when he was younger. We learn more about the Shinigami family. Polka is the son of Rosen's second wife, while Kurai warns him about Takeru, who is actually his nephew. Kurai mentions he is 26, but also the president of the Shinigami security group, which has a notorious reputation for being shady. Misaki is suddenly hugged by Takeru's wife Kiri, who finds her story touching, offering to help her if she is ever in trouble, and they welcome her as a friend. Polka is impressed at how well Misaki is playing her part, so he wants to do his best as well, but Shizuki suddenly interrogates him about the shark on his shoulder, after seeing it could move. Polka wonders where the rest of his family is, and Kazuki tells him they are all at work, so they are the only ones at the house. But Rosen suddenly enters, reminding them that he is also there, and Kiri says he shouldn't be walking around with his health. Polka apologizes to him for running away from home, but he is just glad that he is back. He says he overheard Misaki's story, and wants to hear more about it, so he tells Polka to follow him. They move to a private room, and Polka tells him about what he has been up to since he left. Polka thinks he is doing a good job fooling his father, but Rosen suddenly asks him who he is. Polka is confused, and Rosen says that although he looks like his son, he is sure he is a different person. Polka says he is being ridiculous, but Rosen suddenly pulls a sword on him, saying that a father can recognize his own son. He asks if the real Polka is still alive, but suddenly, Polka senses that the twins are in danger, mentioning how he promised to protect them, and Rosen lets him go. As Polka runs off, there is a mysterious girl in the room that tells Rosen he should have killed the imposter while he had the chance, but he says he just couldn't do it. There is suddenly an explosion in the distance, and there is a flashback to the twins, and Kazuki tells her sister that she lost her purse in the forest. Their sister Suzuka goes out and finds the purse, but she ends up coming across her cousins, plotting the murder of the twins. Suzuka rushes to warn them, but ends up being burnt to death, and ending up as the spirit that follows them around, begging for someone to save them. Back in the present, the twins hear the explosion, and they are told there is a fire, and the man tells them to evacuate. As the twins follow the man away, Suzuka begs them not to go. Meanwhile, we see Tsubaki and Kozaburo as they pay a visit to a man named Tenya, a troublemaker also known as the Phantom Solitaire, to see if he has any information about the fire incident. Tenya is surprised seeing the skeletons, and Tsubaki mentions they have connected the case to the fire-breathing bug, mentioning the signature he leaves behind. Tsubaki theorizes that the fire-breathing bug must infiltrate their targets in disguise, taking their time to prepare and strike when no one's looking, like a bug chewing through a house. The kids are led to an escape tunnel, but Kazuki realizes something is wrong. The man reveals his true intentions, while Suzuka tries to stop him, but can't actually do anything. As the man approaches the twins, Misaki suddenly appears, kicking the man away, and telling Suzuka she is there to save the kids, even though she can't see her. The man gets back up, removing his disguise, mentioning how he was looking forward to feasting on the kids. Misaki tells the twins to run, so they quickly get away. The man introduces himself as Zaku, the killer of killers, and he seems to be aware of Misaki's identity. He suddenly lights the whole room on fire, but Misaki charges straight at him, causing him to wonder if she is even human. Misaki finds it strange he isn't going after the kids, but the man reveals there is nowhere for them to run. The twins wonder if they are being punished for what happened to Suzuka, and they swear to apologize to her if they see her again. The ceiling collapses above them, but Polka manages to arrive just in time, using his skeletal arms to catch the debris. He assures them they have a bright future, and that Suzuka is not mad at them. They manage to make it outside, and Takara thinks about cleaning up the mess. We see the cousin who was behind the attack, thinking that the fire-breathing bug must have taken out the twins, but he is suddenly boxed in as a motorcycle approaches, and the man is taken care of. Back at the mansion, Zaku is surprised the twins managed to survive. He decides to retreat, but Polka catches him. He is disguised as a maid, but Polka can see his soul, and notes that he is being haunted by the servants who he stole faces from. Misaki suddenly appears, kicking him into a wall, and she is glad to be a zombie, which helped her survive the fire. Zaku tells them not to get cocky, using his gloves and starting another fire. He claims that as a bug, he will persist no matter what. Polka wonders if he has enough mana to break through, but he suddenly senses another presence, and Lemmings suddenly appears, taking out the man. But he signals them to keep quiet, and he vanishes once again, leaving them feeling confused. Zaku ends up getting taken in by the police, and he thinks about how to make his escape. But the fire-breathing bug's signature suddenly appears on the roof, and we learn he is a fake. He suddenly bursts into flames, causing an explosion, and we see a mysterious girl that watches from a distance. Rosen asks Polka to explain everything, but Polka can tell they are being listened to, saying they should have some privacy. Rosen orders his servants to leave, and Polka tells him the truth, revealing he is from another world, even showing his magical eye to add credibility to his story. Rosen points his sword at Misaki, since she was the one who killed his son, but the real Polka interferes, trying to tell his father to stop. Rosen realizes that his son is in the shark toy, and he starts laughing, seeing how much his son enjoys being in the toy, so he puts his sword away. Rosen suggests moving the corpse god's soul into an artificial body, but the real Polka wants to be the one to have the robot body, saying he wants the perks that come with it. Rosen thinks that since Polka is still a target, it's actually safer having the corpse god in his body, and since they helped save his grandkids, he lets them off the hook. Later, Misaki grabs onto the real Polka, offering her apology to him, and he seems to accept it. At that moment, the twins rush over, thanking Polka and Misaki for saving them. Misaki is touched to hear this, but Polka tells them not to thank him, and that they should thank their guardian spirit instead. As they walk away, Misaki wonders if he will make a contract with Suzuka, who is now at peace, but Polka tells her that it's not yet time. Meanwhile, at the detention facility, Kozaburo and Tsubaki learn that the real fire-breathing bug killed her imitator, but Tenya thinks that it's nothing, as he is more interested in the skeleton case. He wants the detectives to show him a video of the skeleton, but Tsubaki tells him he needs to trade information for it, but Tenya says he will just have to see it for himself as the lights go out. Kozaburo turns on a flashlight, but they are surprised to see Tenya has disappeared. The detectives hold an emergency meeting, informing everyone about the Phantom Solitaire's escape. We learn that Tenya is responsible for a number of crimes, but he became notorious after he kidnapped the Prime Minister, dropping a black cloth onto him and making him disappear without a trace. When the Prime Minister was released, he had no memory of the kidnapping, saying he just found himself in a manga cafe. Tenya ended up turning himself in, saying he was bothered by the audience's indifference because he wanted the attention of the real magicians. Tenya wanted one of them to reach out to him so he can have proof that real magic exists, but he didn't hear anything from them. The police are baffled by his statement, thinking he's gone nuts, and they beat him up before taking him into custody. To this day, Tsubaki still doesn't know if Tenya was telling the truth, noting that his superhuman technique wasn't even the worst thing about him. Meanwhile, Polka buys a radio, wanting to use it to gather information. He turns it on, and they are surprised to hear news about Zaka's death, and they also hear news about Tenya's escape. The police are also surprised to hear news about the Phantom Solitaire's escape, because Tsubaki had imposed media restrictions. Kurai recognizes the Phantom Solitaire, saying he is an urban legend like Lemmings, but unlike Lemmings, he has received exposure in the media. The police are surprised to learn that they can't change the channel, and the reporter removes his glasses, revealing that he is Tenya, as he announces his return to the public, telling everyone his performance will resume the following week. He ends the broadcast, and Tsubaki thinks he bought airtime from a prisoner known as the Grocer, who does business even while behind bars. Tenya approaches a man he recognizes as the fire-breathing bug. The man doesn't talk to him, and Tenya suddenly gets a call. He realizes it's from the man, but he's confused about why they don't just talk in person. The man wonders how he was found out, and suddenly tries to attack Tenya. The man burns the area around them, and Tenya is impressed by his ability. Tenya uses his cards to defend himself, scattering cards around the area, as he gleefully runs away, saying he likes waste. Tenya holds onto balloons to escape the flame, but the balloons start bursting, so he falls to the ground, and seems to get consumed by the fire. But Tenya is still alive, and he starts running away, as he uses a shield of cards to block the flames, and disappear. He reappears on top of the man's umbrella, revealing how he just fell for his illusion, and he can tell there is also a trick behind the man's fire. Disappointed he can't use real magic, Tenya tells him that something foreign has entered their world, and suggests the man will see it as a bug that he will want to eliminate.